I don't want to waste any more of your guys' time than I have to, so let's just get straight into the meat and potatoes of this build. And let me just say, this build has led me to have the most fun I've had in Destiny for a long time. This build is crazy powerful and it encourages such a unique playstyle. And just to be frank, this build is fast. In order for this build really to be at its full potential, you gotta be chasing after the kid that stole your lunch money fast. You gotta be prime Usain Bolt fast. Now, lucky for me, I'm fast for all things I do in my life, so this wasn't really a problem for me, but I could see if you struggle with movement that this build won't have the potency that it did for me. And let me just say, if a build allows a player like me to pull off stats like this, there's something crazy going on, and I know all of you will fly through these rounds of Onslaught. So let me help you take advantage of these increased rewards we're gonna have for the last week of Until Light and send this build off into the sunset with the final shave. So the required gear for this build is a grand total of 3 items. First, we have Sunshot. This is an ad clear build, so having this weapon is a no-brainer, especially with the artifact mods for Season of the Wish. With Sunshot, you can play incredibly fast and dish out damage even faster. And as you'll see, it synergizes with the overall strategy of this build. Now, here's the part that makes this build so special. So for our exotic armor piece, we're going to be using Fellwinter's Helm. After discovering that Fellwinter's Helm allows us to easily solo Legend 0 Hour in my last video, I decided to dive deep and fully see what this exotic is capable of. And I found Fellwinter's Helm is so powerful when used in the right way. You can almost solo any high-end content that obviously doesn't have the mechanics that require more than one person. You need to see what this exotic is capable of. And finally, any recombination sniper. Yes, I know a few of you cringed at the word sniper there, but at least allow me to say that you don't use it in a traditional way with this build like you do with other snipers. Now, the recommended gear is where you get to play and tune the build to your liking. The piece of gear I recommend is any solar heavy weapon. Personally, I use a rocket launcher to go with the theme of the explosive build, but realistically, any weapon will do just fine. Next also makes an appearance in our solo Legend 0 Hour video, and it's going to be the proximity ward mod for your class item. Now, this has slowly become one of my favorite PvE mods, even though it is not needed. It allows you to play super ultra aggressive on the final waves of Onslaught, and I strongly recommend it. Alright, moving to the subclass, we are going to be running the Super Daybreak. On the later rounds of Onslaught, you can switch to Well Radiance if that helps you. We're going to be having Phoenix Dive, Burst Glide, but it doesn't really matter for the glides, Celestial Fire Solar Melee so we can spread our debuff farther away from us, Healing Grenade, and now the fragments are going to be Ember of Char, Ember of Wonder, Ember of Ashes, Ember of Eruption, and the aspects are going to be Heat Rises and Icarus Dash. And here are the artifact mods. So the strategy and execution of this build is simple. You are an ad clear machine. Your goal is to mainly focus the red bars and the easier targets with Sunshot. What you're trying to do is get the explosion from Sunshot to occur as much as possible. Now, while we're doing this, we're going to introduce why Fellwinter's Helm is in the build. I feel like this exotic has gone completely under the radar in its effectiveness of controlling the battlefield. Its exotic perk, Warlord's End, makes powered melee kills spread a debuff in a certain radius depending on the rank of the enemy you killed with the powered melee. This debuff always completely stuns an enemy affected by it for at least a few seconds, and then allows you to deal 30% more damage to enemies that have the debuff. The weakest debuff you can spread just by killing a normal red bar lasts for 10 seconds and has a 15-meter range, while the strongest debuff you can create is from mini bosses that last 20 seconds and has a ginormous 25-meter range. I bet you can see where I'm going with this. Before or during an engagement, the goal is to get a kill with your powered melee, to spread the debuff from Fellwinter's Helm, and then immediately start going to town with your Sunshot. The debuffed enemies are going to take 30% more damage and will start a chain reaction of solar ignitions that can take out literal waves of enemies. Now, this is great and all, but if you don't have your melee, the build isn't effective. You ask, pushing your glasses up. Wrong. Here's why the proximity ward mod is so effective and game-changing. All finishers count as powered melee kills to Fellwinter's Helm. So being able to rush into a huge group of enemies to do a finisher and being granted an overshield due to the mod to protect yourself long enough for Fellwinter's Helm to stun everyone around you allows you to play insanely aggressive, which I don't really see for Warlock builds. But because it is sometimes really risky to run into a huge group of ads to get a finisher, If you find yourself without your melee, here's the reason why I choose to use Heat Rises. Even if you don't have Heat Rises procced, if you're hovering and get a kill, whether that be a finisher or a kill from Sunshot or just any kill, your melee gets insane regeneration. Running at max strength, I was able to get my melee back in just 3 kills while hovering. With this build, you are able to get into a rotation of debuffing and exploding large waves of enemies, and ensures this build will never be ineffective. And this clip that you're looking at right now is on the final wave of Onslaught. Look how aggressive I've been playing and absolutely annihilating people. And then I Phoenix dive to get all my health back, and bam, I stun more people. Now this clip illustrates how large the radius can get when you finish a mini boss. So right now I'm weakening and bam, finish him, and look at beyond the corner. How many people are stunned and debuffed? And look, we just go and clean it up and it's easy. That entire wave just died. And you can see using the Icarus dash to move around the map super fast. Just spamming Sunshot, trying to find a good target to use my melee or use a finisher. Bam, I see a mini boss, activate the finisher, and look, that entire new wave, stunned. Pick them off, continue finding targets, and see another one. Rocket launcher, and then recombination sniper into a finisher. And look, it goes all the way beyond the corner. That entire wave is gone. Literally not a threat anymore. And you're going to see in this clip that sometimes when you melee, it just decides to kill the entire wave just because. I have no idea why that happens, but sometimes it does it, and it just clears out everyone. And then you go and you find a mini boss. Sometimes the finishers do have a little wacky targeting system. I went and I targeted a dreg right there instead of the mini boss, but we go back, we find him, we get a melee kill, but all the guys are dead. And this clip shows the absolute power that Sunshot has. I do 2 shots and it kills a whole bunch of people, and then the melee happens and it instant kills everyone into a finisher to stun around the corner. And if you team up with aggressive players and aggressive classes like Strand Titan, look at the chaos that you can cause. Me and this guy in this specific game went around just absolutely dominating people. It's actually insane. And the regeneration on the melee, I already have my melee back. And I'm just telling you guys, this is the most fun build I've ever played. You guys will not regret it if you guys load this up and give it a couple tries. It is the most fun, most aggressive, most fast-paced build I've ever played. And it really rewards being accurate in good shots from super far away, because as you just saw, I just took out all those guys without even hitting a single headshot. And we Icarus dash in, and we pull out our rocket launcher. There we go. And then we move on, take on some of the ads, and pull out our recombination sniper, take the shot, instant kills it. And this showcases the chain reaction potential with Sunshot. It goes back with chain and kills every single person in that. And you see these last 2 clips are going to showcase the defensive capabilities of the proximity mod and the stun combined. So you see I get cornered, I throw down my heal to give me a little boost. I see a high priority target right there. Do my finisher, that guy is stunned, and then it's easily taken out. And go and continue trying to take on the ads. You see the destructive force of the Sunshot into another finisher to stun more people around me. And now the bombardment of captains. Actually insane amount of captains in this small area. You saw I got a melee kill and it instantly stunned and debuffed every single one, and that turned the tide, and we just instantly destroyed pretty much all of them. And now to close it out, I'm going to be showing you all my mods, and while I do that, I just want to take a moment and say thank you guys so much for the support on the last video. It really means so much to me. I did not expect that video to get that much traction, so thank you guys for your kind words and your kind comments and everything. Just to let you guys know, when the final shape drops, I'm going to be doing a live stream on this channel for 5 days straight. Yes, I'm gonna try to keep it live for 5 days in a row. If you guys want to come by and say hi as I grind up to do the day 1 raid, so come by, say hi. I'll be there for 5 days, so you will not miss me. But thank you guys so much. It really means a lot. My name's Ujurak, and thanks for watching.